Here we are. It is 5:52 a.m. Let's see if the live stream actually starts up. Which it looks like it will. We're just going to sit for a moment. So we're going to do some easy mobility this morning. Nothing crazy, nothing special. Just you, me, and mobility. Hey friends, thanks for dropping by, for saying hi. It's August 12th, 2025. For those of you who are watching, my name is Toby. I am 41 years old, and I train to live an active, self-sufficient, and adventurous life. And as you can see, I am back at home. I am not out in the mountains anymore. I am going to do some mobility today because that is a part of my routine to stay fit and healthy at 40. I think we have a good range of motion and good control of our range of motion. We are able to make more of life, and I think decreases in mobility also at some point begin to diminish the quality of life. So here we are. I train to live an active, self-sufficient, and adventurous life. I do so by minding my sleep. I try to get between 7 and 9 hours in a night. I do so by minding what I eat. I try to eat within my energy balance. I do so eating a lot of greens, a lot of fibers, minding my protein intake to help support my long short-term health and fitness. I do so by working out, strength resistance training 3 times a week, mobility training, endurance training, do a variety of physical activities to just stay overall fit and healthy and capable for life. It's about the way I feel, not about the way I look. I don't want to look like a fitness model or like a bodybuilder. I don't want to be the strongest I can possibly be. I simply want to be functionally fit and capable for life and for living. That's what we're working on. If you're interested in any of that, you go ahead, hit like, subscribe, and we can continue this conversation over stream on my podcast, underneath any of my videos or shorts, whatever you think is a good place to ask me a question or engage with me. It is Mobility Day, so I'm going to hit the timer in a moment, and we're just going to start off with full body mobility, and then we're going to move on with a cup of coffee and the rest of the day. Emily, hi Emily, thanks for dropping by. I hope you're doing all right where you are. And I hope that you're well where you're at in the world. And I'm glad that you found a time to drop by and to say hi. We're just going to get started. Like I said, my name is Toby. I'm 41 years old, and I train to live an active, self-sufficient, and adventurous life. Diego Argueta, hi. Thanks for dropping by, for saying hi. I hope you are well where you're at in the world as well, and I hope that you are doing okay this morning or this evening. We are doing a mobility session today. We're going to talk about some insights about health and fitness. We're going to start with the upper body. It's probably going to be about 20 minutes to this session of mobility. So, why do I think this is so important that I spend 90 minutes a week on actually training my movement and my range of motion. And I actually do. I appreciate that. Because there are a lot of things that I could do in my teens and 20s that I took for granted at the time, and that now that I've crossed that threshold of 40, I realize maybe I should not have taken them for granted as much as I did at the time. And some of those things are very much related to how we move, how well we move, how flexible and functional our bodies are, my body is, and how much I control that, as well as how much or how quickly we develop little pains and little problems because their bodies are not used to being used properly to work under load, to move through their full range of motion. So what happens when you make an unexpected movement? You twist something, misalign something, and you simply injure yourself without there being a really good reason for it. Now, as far as I am concerned, as far as I understand how my body works, I also understand and realize that my body is capable of healing, regenerating, and actually maintaining capacity. But in order to do that, we need to actually be active and engage and use our bodies in ways that will allow it to grow stronger and healthier. And mobility training is as much a part of that as lifting and running, so to speak. And some forms of training incorporate all kinds of these exercises. Think of yoga or Pilates or Tai Chi. Those are great combinations of different kinds of exercise modalities mixed into one session or one flow. But the point is that in our day-to-day, we don't use our full range of motion. In fact, I think we use less and less of our range of motion, and our body adapts to that and lets us get away with not really doing as much, and we are happy to let it because inherently as human beings we try to avoid effort and try to let ourselves rest and recover and preserve energy as a more or less default state. But here's the challenge that we have with that is that the less we do, the less we're capable of. And the less we become capable of, the less we start to do. And you can see that that becomes a very clear and obvious race to the bottom that we would best be served avoiding. Because it is clearly better to be able and active, because it will help us do the things that we find important in life. Working on the mobility in the shoulders with these exercises, by the way. So think about that as you try to, understand what kind of program what kind of program you're going to try to follow. Because these different programs will give you different types of mobility, ability, and stretch and flexibility. And you want to pick one that suits your level and suits your need. But as a form of light and moderate exercise on recovery days, I don't see any reason why you wouldn't want to include some mobility, but you could just as easily do mobility exercises in the downtime you have between the different exercises that you're doing at the gym and get a similar result. The main point being that you need to figure out a way to do these exercises regularly in order to reap the benefit. So, if I do 30 repetitions of any of these exercises in a year, then by the end of the year, maybe I've done enough to rectify, change, or regain some increased movement, better mobility, better range of motion. Because that's how long it can take for the body to adapt and adjust. Red Panda said hi back. Thanks for dropping by. I hope you're doing well where you are at in the world. And I hope life is treating you well this evening or this morning, depending on where you are and what you're doing. We are working on mobility this morning, just as a part of a routine for living healthy and well in life, making the most of life as we find it. And in the meantime, just talking about health and fitness and what that means and what we do. All right. So, that being said, how are we doing in the full scope of our health and fitness? And when it comes to staying fit, staying healthy for living. Think a couple of things that we just need to keep reminding ourselves of. First and foremost, the one that we shouldn't forget is that we are fighting deterioration. This is simply a fact of life, okay? Especially after 30 and 40, our strength, muscle mass, our cardiovascular ability, our bone density, these all start to slowly but surely decline. And what of course happens is that we are not aware of it. It happens too gradually, too unnoticeable, until it is not unnoticeable. Okay? And I think that is the moment that we should be weary of, and that we should get ahead of. But then you get into this other trap where you need to kind of decide and assess how healthy and fit you are, and you're going to think, well, I'm doing quite all right. And the thing is that, yeah, you're doing quite all right because you work on it 7 days a week in varying levels of intensity. I think that is the one that we forget. That is the one that we take for granted. We think that we're good and we can get away with doing less and less and less. But the key is that we need to show up every day for 30 minutes and do something. It doesn't matter what. It could be marching in place. It could be air squats, push-ups, and jumping jacks. Right? But whatever they are, you need to do them regularly and consistently for life. And again, this is not about being a health and fitness model. This is not about, how should I put it, checking in and actually earning money with our looks. This is simply about building the capacity to do things that we enjoy doing, because we want to make the most out of life and out of this gift that we have. but we need to do something for it. So what do we focus on? Well, we focus on sleeping well before anything else. If you can get yourself to sleep better, you are going to feel better, and your health is going to improve drastically. Can guarantee it. So that is one that we need to take care of and be mindful of, and actually do better at. If we consider ourselves good sleepers, we can make the world move for us because we have focus and energy throughout the day after. Okay? So that's one. Second is coming to terms with what we eat and how we eat, and coming to understand that a lot of the convenience that is available in our lives is convenience that we can do without because it's detrimental to our health. These are things like prepackaged foods, microwave meals, takeaways, all things where you don't really know how the food is prepared, what ingredients are added or put in, and how the food is actually made. Okay? You start to live without that, and believe me, your health is going to increase. Instead, we need to focus on foods that are simple and that are tasty and that are fresh and healthy. This is a lot of produce, a lot of vegetables. Nothing against meats or fish, but in smaller quantities. There are at least 2 days a week that I am completely meatless in my diet, and I do fine like that. Some people do it 7 days a week, and they're fine. I try to focus on fish, and if meat is a part of the meal, it is not the mainstay of the meal. Vegetables are still very present and take up more than 50% of the plate, not of the calories, but of the volume. And meat is consumed to a lesser degree. There we go. And what do we have? The final two. Let's start off with the elephant walks. Right, so we need to eat smarter and eat better and do well. Because if we're sleeping well and eating well, we're going to start feeling a lot better for sure. And then, when all of that is said and done, we have to start moving better. Here, 26 minutes. That's it. That's morning mobility. Nothing special, nothing crazy. Just a brief workout, some brief movement. Going through full range of motion, making sure that I am using my body and I'm telling my body that, hey, you're capable of doing all of these things, all of these movements, you've got range of motion. Let's make sure that we keep and maintain that. So it's important for training, it's important for life, it's important for health. For those of you who are watching, thanks for dropping by, saying hi. I hope you're doing well where you're at in the world, and I hope you're having a good start or end of the day. My name's Toby, I'm 41 years old. I train to live an active, self-sufficient and adventurous life. I do so by minding my sleep, minding what I eat, trying to train and move regularly throughout the day, spend time with people I love and care about, do things that I enjoy, generally trying to live a stress-free life. This is about the way I feel, not about the way I look. I would like to feel fit, capable, and competent for living. And I think it's important for us all to remember that we're good just the way we are. We've got to love ourselves before we can move on. This person we are today, after all, is going to get us to where we want to be tomorrow. So a bit of kindness is going to go a long way. There are enough people out there who want to put us down, so we are going to lift ourselves up. And the only way to get anything done, friends, by showing up and doing the work. So I'll see you tomorrow. Remember to hit like, subscribe, so we can continue the conversation. Take care, friends. And remember, subscribe.